Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Mark Marquette here with Triple T Thompson
Yes,
to
sir.
help you stay curious. Hey, Triple T, how you doing?
Good. Had a good day. Had 20 kids in here, 5-year-olds, and
Yeah, we had the Precious Lambs Daycare here. Came from Palm Bay, 50 miles down the road south
Yeah,
of us.
that was
Nice little
exciting
trip for those kids. So
Yeah.
they've had a big day. You and Steve Izzo, another dependable
Yeah.
docent we have here, had the honors of wrangling those kids around our
We
museum.
split
here.
them up into two groups, and they were quite inquisitive. And there's several of them want to grow up to be astronauts, so that's a good thing. You never know when you might ignite a little spark.
That's right. That's what we're here for. Using
Yeah.
our museum that for 21 years has been preserving the birth of the American space
Right.
age to ignite the future generation of kids. And
That's what we want.
it's interesting, Travis, to look at today's March 18th, and 2 years ago, our whole country was shut down with the COVID.
Yeah.
We closed our doors for 6 months.
Wow.
Everybody's St. Patty's Day celebrations were canceled around here, but
Yeah.
we survived it 2 years later, maybe better for it. So we are very grateful to have a group of kids in here again as I'm adjusting the mic for Marty Winkle, our co-producer, and working the Streamlabs engineering computer back there. We're also
Doing a good
grateful to
job.
Jessica Galloway for teaching all this good stuff and being there at the last minute. So
Yeah.
we're going to get Jessica back on the show next Wednesday
Okay.
as our board of directors wants to celebrate the second year anniversary of Stay Curious is March 23rd. And I've been told by some board members they're going to crash our party.
Cool.
I told them I'd like some dancing girls, some balloons, and a plate of caviar, please. So what would you like, Triple T? You've been an important part of taking us to this 2-year mark, Marty and I.
I'd probably want a cold Budweiser.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't think we'll arrange that live because we got enough wrangling around with being on YouTube, Twitch, Spotify,
Yeah.
and of course Facebook Live. We're so grateful where we launched Stay Curious. We're even going to trademark the Stay Curious name.
Awesome.
So we hope that everyone is enjoying our program. We sure love it that you like us, share us, follow us, and subscribe to us
Please.
on all of our social media. And indeed, we're grateful for Mark Usiak sharing this beautiful picture of the Space Launch System Artemis
Yeah.
with the Orion capsule on top of it. He's got a little osprey there, the bird there.
I bet Mark had fun.
Yeah, Mark
watching.
had a lot of fun on there. That's the VAB over my shoulder here as
Right.
it's starting to roll out, and it took from 6 o'clock last night to about 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I got up and saw it on the launch pad 39B, which is right south of the bridge when you're looking at the on the bridge, the big bridge here in Titusville. So
And
it'll be
30
out there a couple weeks, so everyone will get a good look at it as they're doing the what you and Marty call down in a minute as we thank our sponsor, Hyatt Place, Titusville / Kennedy Space Center is how you look up Hyatt Place, Titusville
Cool.
/ Kennedy Space Center. We're going to conduct some events there, and we're so happy that Robert and Dana, the manager and assistant general manager there, have welcomed the American Space Museum to do some events there. Of course, April 16th, we're going to celebrate the golden anniversary of the dawn of the space shuttle era
Yeah.
that was financed by the U.S. Congress in April 1972 to the tune of $5.5 billion. And they started working on Columbia in 72. And by when did you get hired?
79.
So 1979, you were standing underneath that in
Yeah.
the first fresh orbital processing
Yeah.
facility. So
It got here at the end of March sometime in 79, and I started May 1st, so I only missed maybe a month.
well, there is Travis Todd Thompson there with Pam Melroy. She is the deputy director to Bill Nelson,
Yeah.
who I understand was out there at the Artemis
He was.
Roll
I
out.
watched him yesterday on TV.
And there you are when they indoctrinated officially your your
uniform.
number one uniform, the White Room uniform out there. So we wanted to share that picture of Pambo.
Pambo. And I told her when we were standing there, I said, as soon as I heard your name being announced to be deputy director, I knew we were going to be okay. And
Sweet.
she was happy to hear that.
So we got Bill Nelson, who of course is a politician that rode to space. He actually doesn't consider himself an astronaut, but a space passenger.
Yeah.
And she's second in charge, second lady to command a spaceship after being a pilot of a couple of them. And then, of course, the ever popular Bob Cabana is the third in charge of NASA. So we're in good hands as we go to the Artemis world. And let me go back this way. And wanted to just share with you, Aaron Gobra, we had a little celebration of the 9 astronauts who have Scottish heritage there. You would know Katie Coleman and Brian O'Connor and the Kelly twins, as well as your buddy Vegas Kelly.
Yeah, there's Vegas,
of that. So don't imagine you had any green beer with any of these shuttle astronauts, huh?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know some of them were Irish. That's cool. Vegas, cool guy, you know, F-15 driver, and he's just a cool guy. Me and him get along good.
Yeah, wonderful. Kathy Sullivan there, Eileen Collins, Mike Collins, and Neil Armstrong was from a bunch of cattle wrestlers, he always proudly said, in Frombaugh.
I've heard of that, yeah.
County of Frombaugh, anyway.
Cool.
Well, we're going to look at the Artemis rollout here, and you, of course, experienced many shuttle rollouts, 135 of them to be exact. You were out there during the entire program. Tell everybody why there was a couple thousand people in such an exciting atmosphere going on, as this was this morning. A fog covered the whole space coast here. I'm sure there were hundreds of photographers here that wanted to get out the Merritt Island Refuge, where at stop 7 you can see the pad right there. So I'm going to go one day and send. We'll have a picture on Stay Curious about that. But there was a fog out there all morning.
Yeah.
Until about almost 11 o'clock.
I didn't
and the
think
fog's
about
lifting there. And USIAC sent us this picture. Look at the V of birds flying overhead there. So tell us the excitement of
to launch. You know, they're actually sometime.
No, it's going to be late May or June.
Okay.
Because they're going to pull it back into the VAB and then do a lessons learned all checkout of everything, right?
Yeah.
And then because they're going to go do a terminal test where they're not going to launch it. But
so they're fit checking everything now. That's what they're doing, you know, and making sure, you know, everything's going to work. And tying the systems in, so they're talking to the bird, and, you know, the firing room can talk to the bird and all that kind of stuff. So that's what they're hooking up, mating all that stuff. And then, but it's exciting for one thing, because we didn't have to work.
Oh, really?
So we could just go out there and watch, you know, because you didn't have anything to work on. It's rolling to the pad. We had already taken our stuff to the pad and got it ready, you know, so we were just standing there waiting, and rollouts were fun because everybody would come from all, you know, everybody with a badge would come just to see it.
Yeah, it's an ominous thing to watch things go out of the vertical assembly building. This was about 6 o'clock last night. This is the picture we blew up behind us here. You see the launch control facility. This is taken by Mark Usiak from the press site area. And then he followed it all night and took some beautiful pictures like that.
That's way cool.
I
did see Bill Nelson giving his little speech.
And Mark's work will appear in the magazine Ad Astra.
Cool.
Of the National Space Society.
Awesome.
He was freelancing for.
Good job.
There's the White Room up there, Travis.
It is.
Up there, up to the Orion vehicle up there. And here's your White Room.
Yeah.
From a different perspective, but I don't know if you can tell anything. Of course, the shuttle White Rooms were, one of them I know is the Kennedy Visitors Complex.
Right.
And the Apollo ones are in the Apollo gallery out there where the Saturn V is.
I think the one that came off of Pad B is actually at JSC in Houston.
Okay. So they did not repurpose it. They built it all. But I'm always fascinated, Travis. Look at the construction of this mobile launch platform, which in itself cost, $1 billion, I think,
Probably.
actually. So intricate, and yet everything's necessary there.
Yeah.
Speak to that a little bit, if you can.
Well, every system, how you got to be able to access whatever part of the vehicle. So that's what you see, these arms going out to the vehicle and stuff. And they keep it stable, but they also run whatever connections need to be connected to the rocket. So they're wire racks and stuff. The White Room, I'm hoping that they took my suggestion. They called me and asked me, and they said, how big should we make the door? Mm-hmm. And I said, as big as the biggest payload you're going to put in your rocket. Mm-hmm. So they made a big roll-up door, I think is what I told them. So I'd like to walk out and look in it. You know?
Well, hope you can someday,
Yeah.
Travis. That'd be cool. Marty, we've got a comment.
Yeah, Mark, I'm not sure what you call that structure, but it's actually the launch umbilical tower.
Okay.
LUT, unless they've changed nomenclature now.
Launch umbilical tower. I call it the mobile launch platform, which is probably the
Well, that's what's carrying
bottom of it. That's what's carrying it.
Yeah.
And that, Marty, has the acronym of LUT. Launch umbilical tower, right?
Just
LUT.
the what?
The LUT. Okay, I say
LUT.
LUT. You say LUT. He says the
LUT.
tomato. I say tomato.
The E at the end would be loop, but without the E, it's a LUT.
Okay, it's a LUT. There's no E at the end. Marty's giving me his Miss Miller's 8th grade grammar lesson there.
There you go.
No, thank you, Marty. You are correct. That is the launch umbilical tower that is on the mobile launch platform. Again, incredibly sophisticated to design.
Oh,
This
yeah.
stuff just doesn't fly out of engineering's table. There's a
Nuh-uh.
lot of thinking that goes on because, one, we hope to launch many
Oh, yeah.
Space Launch System Artemis rockets from this.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Mark Usiak. He was thinking of you when he
Good.
sent me that photograph.
Cool. I liked it, Mark.
And so a little bit of space history
Yeah,
until
here
we
we
get
go.
back into the shuttles of the month of March with Triple T. Alexei Leonov, the first human to walk in space on this date 67 years ago.
Wow.
I mean, just think about that for a minute. Almost 7 decades was the first spacewalk, okay?
Wow.
And how many people do you think have followed him into space? Well, you're curious and I was curious. A total of 238 more humans have done a spacewalk, all right? So that's not quite half of the 580 humans who've walked in who have been launched and orbited the Earth.
Right.
580. So 239 is not quite half of that, but that's a pretty good chunk. That
Yeah.
a lot of them have experienced spacewalk, and
Pretty cool. And a lot of them like it.
yeah, and if you didn't,
Cool.
if you didn't experience a spacewalk, you were probably what, a commander or a pilot,
Yeah, right,
okay,
right.
because they had to stay in the ship.
Yeah.
And so you take that, so a big percentage of mission specialists, probably
would be
well over
mission-
60%.
Yeah, it would be a
of
mission
spacewalks
specialist.
in there. So there is we're going to talk about Alexei Leonov, who did this spacewalk. There is a picture of him in space. The photographs that were kind of controversial because it looked like they did them in a studio. And but it does not diminish for the fact that this guy did do a spacewalk. Beside him was in the Voskhod 2 spacecraft in March 18th, 1965, was Pavel Belyayev. And Belyayev died of cancer 5 years after this mission and didn't fly again.
Wow.
Here is an artist's rendition, a beautiful one, of what the spacecraft looked like. And
Cool.
there was actually an inflatable tunnel that they inflated and then opened the hatch so that he could be in kind of his own little space chamber.
Yeah.
And then he opened the opening there to go out. Well, when he went out, his spacesuit started ballooning up so big that he had trouble getting back inside.
I heard.
And the spacewalk lasted about 12 minutes. Outside the Voskhod, he found that his suit had stiffened to the point where he couldn't re-enter the airlock. So he bled some pressure off his suit, and it got so low that he stopped talking
Conserve.
he wasn't communicating to mission control that he could be in trouble. Meanwhile, the other guy's in there with the spacesuit, Belyayev.
Right.
So they went through this harrowing episode of getting him back in there, and they were so relieved that they did. Their pressure suits were still puffy, and when they re-entered a few hours later, they were out of balance, landed hundreds of miles off of where they were supposed to, in a forest. No helicopters could land, and they spent 2 days in this forest with then they had to take cross-country snow skis to get out eventually.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a harrowing experience for sure. Then Leonov became the commander of the Apollo-Soyuz test project. But after, and flew to space with Tom Stafford and Vance Brand and Deke Slayton, and Kubasov was the other astronaut, cosmonaut, and that was in 1975.
Cool.
But he was practicing, Leonov was, to go to the moon. He was the astronaut chosen to go in a one-man spaceship. While Gagarin was orbiting the moon, it was planned that Leonov was going to go down and spend 1 or 2 orbits of the other's vehicle, not long.
Wow.
Just less than 4 hours on the moon, grab some rocks, take some pictures, and win the moon race
Say
against
they were there,
America. The CP on his helmet was painted at the last minute before the launch of this crew of Voskhod 2. So a little bit of space history today.
Cool.
An important day. I was a young teenager when this happened. We were in awe so much about it. You didn't see pictures about it till weeks later. And what's hard for young people under 40 even to understand is there was no live video of a lot of this stuff, and everything was a radio communication.
Yeah.
And we didn't see movies and film photography pictures until weeks later, even sometimes.
You know how you can always tell a spacewalker? I think I've told you before.
How can you always tell a spacewalker, Triple T?
They got no fingernails. Because the friction, they call it spacewalking, but you don't use your lower torso for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So they use their hands for everything. Constant moving in the glove rubs your fingernails off. And they all the way down to the cuticle, the men or the women.
Wow.
But you can always tell a spacewalker. You shake hands, you can look, see their finger. If they don't have any fingernails, they're a spacewalker.
That's interesting.
Because they also spend so much time at the NBL, the neutral buoyancy lab.
Yeah, just not because of the spacewalking.
Right.
For every spacewalk they do, they probably practice it
10
40
hours
times.
for every hour that they walk in space. They have at least 10 in the pool.
Interesting.
So, but they rub their, and then when they come back and they quit walking, eventually your fingernails grow back. They regenerate, just like your eyes regenerate and your skin, epidermis. So you'll grow them back. And it's not painful, they've said. My dad told me, he said they're smooth just like a Dutch baby's ass.
Okay, all right. Well, there's some good information from Travis Thompson there about spacewalkers. I thought you set me up for a joke. It's like, where do astronauts hang out? At the space bar.
There you go.
All right. Ta-da. Well, we got some Triple T. You launched STS-119 on March 15th, 2009, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the program, of course. And this was an ambitious mission. Let me get my shuttle scroll there. But it had on it a bat. There's the mission insignia. It was the final electrical installations they did on spacewalks of this mission. And but they had a bat up there. I'm going to make that smaller, Marty, so it don't pixelate out. We talked about this, but this bat actually clung to the external tank and was launched. Tell us a little bit. Were you involved with that?
No, I remember watching. We saw it when we were on the pad.
Did you really?
Yeah. In fact, I might have been the one that told him. I don't remember. But I did tell him I saw it. And it is a National Wildlife Refuge, so nothing you can do.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about being a National Wildlife Refuge.
I imagine that was a hell of a ride for him, though.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. That was, and there he is at the launch. They're showing the lower right-hand panel. In the left-hand panel, you see the arrows showing you where it was. And,
Oh, maybe it was on the other side now that I'm thinking about it.
See, it was on the ET side. It was on not the shuttle side of the ET, but
Other side.
the other side there. But so that brings to mind, since you been out there an awful long time,
Yeah.
is other animals. By the way, I want to show you that launch, see if it jogged a memory. It was a beautiful, right before
That was
dawn
119,
launch.
okay.
Right, daylight savings time had changed, so
Yeah.
it was about 7:30, and it left a very beautiful iridescent trail
Calm
of smoke
trail.
from those solid rocket boosters there.
Cool.
So I know you saw every launch.
Oh, yeah.
and you all can't remember them all like Marty does, but
I kind of remember that calm trail.
well, we're going to talk about some other animals, some tales from Triple T about animals at Kennedy Space Center. After all, it is a wildlife refuge that they built on.
Yeah.
There is the mock STS-70 with Woody Woodpecker on the patch there. And tell us why that mission in July, let me find my shuttle scroll here, that was July 95.
95.
What was the woodpecker all about?
Well, I guess that the grass was too high and that they had to cut the grass because the woodpeckers couldn't find the ants because the grass was so high. So they ended up figuring it out. But it is a wildlife refuge. There's not much you can do. So this is what when they hired what they called bird watchers, mostly kids. But they would walk around with an air horn and
Really?
blow the air horn to scare the birds off.
There's the damage that we saw up there. Look at the top up there, the white
Yeah.
in the where you see the white areas in that foam.
I remember-
What's the texture of that external tank?
You're not supposed to touch it, but it's thick, bumpy.
Is it like that like you squirt out to insulate your
It's kind
your
of a
home and
spray-on
you squirt
stuff.
out a quarter of it and
Yeah,
it blows up?
it
Does
goes
it kind
up.
of feel
It's
like
kind of
that?
like that, but it's hard. You can tap on it. And it's hard.
So that was some work for a woodpecker to get in there.
Yeah,
huh?
but I remember them having to build a special scaffold to get to where the damage was.
So, okay, you can see the scaffold would have
Yeah.
been placed way up there. And what are those round yellow balls there?
Okay, so what they did, those are supposed to be predator eyes, like an owl or something. So that's supposed to scare the birds away because they're big eyes on it. So they put those up. They hired the bird watchers. They'd walk around. We got tired of hearing air horns, I can tell you that,
Wow.
because they had to walk around all day long blowing their horn, and they'd go from top to bottom and then go back up to the top and start over. So
Just blowing air horns.
Yeah.
So you're paying people pretty good
that's
money.
pretty good money.
And
But
them
that
air
was,
horns are $4 or $5
Yeah.
a compression can.
and they all had to have their tethered so they wouldn't drop it, And they,
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
that's
so
interesting.
they go up there and blow it.
So
And
your air horn would have to be tethered to your body so
Oh,
you
yeah.
wouldn't drop it. I wouldn't have thought of that, Marty.
yeah,
Uh,
I think it's tethered.
yeah.
Everything?
you carry.
You're supposed to tether everything, really.
to your body, huh? All right. Well, there is one of them
Yeah.
pesky. It was,
I remember
woodpecker.
seeing them. It is, like you said, a wildlife refuge. So.
Well, there's a wild turkey and a shuttle in the background.
Turkey
so
buzzing.
we thought we'd talk a minute here with Triple T about some of the wildlife animals out there. Some of the NASA cameras have caught spiders going across them and so forth.
Space spider, I call it.
Space spider, right? Exactly. So, share with us a little bit about how about alligators?
Yeah, I remember I was on second shift, and I'm walking to the pad gate to leave, and that's where you put your badge in the badge rack.
Mm-hmm.
So I get there, and the guard is in the shack with his door shut, and he won't come out, and he's hollering at me, "Don't get your badge, wait till tomorrow, don't get it, there's a gator." So I looked, and there's a 10-foot gator laying there. I'm a Florida boy, it wasn't going to bother me. So I just walked right up took my badge, said hi to the gator, and walked away. I don't know what happened after that, but we did have some kind of wrangler people that was their job to.
Yeah, there was there actually like a pest control rangers or something like
I don't
that
remember
on
what
base
they were,
there?
I don't remember what they were called, but yeah. So they would have had to come get this gator and remove it, and all they did was take him outside the fence and dump him in a canal. So
Back in the old days, they used to paint. I'm talking old days, like our Cape Canaveral room represents and these guys are in their 90s. Okay, talking about
now.
painting turtles,
armadillos,
with armadillos,
and turtles.
with green paint because they had a lot of green paint around because that was the color of.
What was it?
The company out there, Marty? What am I thinking of? Not Rocketdyne. General Dynamics.
General Dynamics
was a Kelly green paint.
Oh, okay.
And all kinds of things like that.
I have
Snakes?
seen turtles out there painted.
Snake problems out there? Or?
I don't remember much snake problems.
And you were mentioning about the mosquitoes. I imagine mosquitoes could get pretty bad.
Mosquitoes at certain times of the year, they get really bad out there.
And would they get up all the way 100, 200 feet up in the
I'd have
white
them
room?
in my white room. They'd have them in the payload bay.
Really?
Yeah, they'd get in there. Even though there's airlocks and stuff, they'd still get in. Or they'd ride in.
I've never heard
on
an
you.
astronaut, Marty, being in the space lab saying, well, there's a mosquito just going by here.
I don't know if they made it into space, but I know they made it into the payload. And I've had them in my white room, so it could have possibly got in the ship.
Uh-huh.
But I never heard anybody say anything.
You ever have like a bumblebee come up and flip everybody out as you're sitting up here? No?
I was standing on the OAA, the Orbiter Access Arm, one time, and I was waiting on the helicopter and the flight crew to come out in their Astro van because they were on the way. So I was standing there, and as I'm standing there, I see an owl fly 10 feet from me with a rat in his claws.
No, man.
That was pretty cool.
Got his dinner there.
He flew right by me on the 195, like 10 feet from me. It was pretty neat. So yeah, there's a bunch out there. Mosquitoes were bad. So what they did, NASA gave us a mesh, like a little jacket made out of mesh. And what you did was you put it in a Ziploc bag, and they gave you this little mosquito repellent, and you were supposed to spray it, pour it all on your new coat, and let it get all saturated, and then you'd wear that, and that was supposed to keep you from the mosquitoes, but I think they ate that stuff.
I've never asked you if the White Room has its own air conditioner or is it the ambient temperature?
What I do is it's air, and I have an air duct attached to the ceiling, and this air duct goes inside the ship, and that circulates the air in the ship. Mm-hmm. So while we're working in the ship or it's launch day and we're loading, we got that air duct. So it's just blowing air. And then in the White Room is just the doors are opening all the time, so there's no AC or nothing.
I suppose what it's hard to, a lot of noise going on.
A lot of noise, very noisy.
Blowing air and clicks and clangs and
Blowing
stuff
air.
going on.
And on launch day, they don't make an announcement when they do a purge or make make something makes noise. Because
on the spacecraft
up to launch day, they always make a venting at the 2-foot level or something.
Yeah.
But on launch day, they don't do it. So you'll be standing and all of a sudden you hear boom, and it's like, oh crap.
Wow.
So yeah, because they don't make the announcements. But launch day is different than every work day. But that air was really needed inside. It was good.
Well, how exciting is launch day going to be for this rocket here?
Oh my
Hopefully
God.
in June. There'll be the coast will be full of tourists.
I'm going to tell people I would come from anywhere in the world to see this. When the Saturn launched, 7.5 million pounds of thrust. Nobody's ever seen a rocket this big. 8.8 million pounds of thrust. I would come from Dundee, Scotland,
All
and
right,
see
Robert
it.
Law.
So I would come from anywhere to see this thing.
Marty, any shout outs to anybody today since he's mentioned that? Marty is going to stick by the old school, and I'm like him, that the Saturn V rocket is a lot more powerful because this has got 2 solid rockets strapped onto it.
Yeah.
So Saturn V will still be
Okay.
classified as the most powerful, quote, liquid rocket.
I get
believe.
it. I get it.
But we've got Ophelia, got a crush on you,
Good,
in
I
Normandy,
like her.
France there. Hi, Ophelia. Thank
Come
you
on
for
over.
watching. Gary Gerald's watching. Your daughter, Tanya
Yep.
Thompson. Hi.
My
Lisa
baby.
Marie's watching. We've got the Usiak brothers and Carlton Bailey.
Good.
And look forward to Tom Usiak being on here on
Yeah.
April 4th.
Good.
He's going to do a cool program about how all those photographs are disseminated around there. So thank you, Mark Usiak, for letting us share your beautiful photography here. We also thank Jean Wright. Thank you, Jean. I
Yep.
shared some of her photographs that she took last night at
Yeah,
the
she
rollout
was
there.
taking
And
some,
like
I
everybody
saw.
else, Jean Wright was thrilled to be among the thousands that were witnessing history
Yeah.
last night, because this truly is an historic event where these are the first steps of going back to the moon. And
Bill Nelson really gave a good speech.
Did
about
he?
it, Yeah, I was impressed.
I'll have to check that out. And that's Administrator Bill Nelson there. So, Triple T, we appreciate you so much being here. We're glad that, as is everybody that watches our program regularly, that you're back to your regular health.
Yeah, I feel better.
All right. We thank the Hyatt Place Titusville
Yep.
/ Kennedy Space Center
I
for
might have to get a
supporting our
room there.
program. They are a fabulous little stop there right at 405 that goes into Kennedy Space Center, and they will take good care of you there. They
Do we
have
get a discount?
They have a 5th floor launch viewing site there.
Cool.
All right. And I don't know. Let me hold a $20 bill and I'll think about that. See if they got a discount there. Yeah, they're going to take care of us. They
Cool.
certainly are, because we're going to have
I'm
some
looking
events
forward
there.
to it. I'm thinking maybe I should stay that night we have the event. I'm
Good.
thinking about that.
Good. All right. All right. Well, it'll be anyway, we appreciate everybody this week embracing Stay Curious as
Yep.
we are launching into our 2nd year of Marty Winkle and I
That's way
providing
cool.
you this type of entertainment that
You guys
highlights
started on
space
your
history.
cell phone, didn't you?
We did.
That's awesome.
Started on our cell phone, and we had to buy a $60 part to let our cameras connect to the
Wow.
the computer, and that was an investment that our executive director Karen Conklin kind of wondered, do we really need it as a
Yeah.
nonprofit? And it's launched our little program here that we've got friends
2
all over
years.
the world watching.
All
and we
over.
don't take that for granted. We love you all, and we appreciate
Definitely.
you sharing our program to make it bigger, particularly on YouTube. One day we can monetize this, but we have a lot of fun doing it, and true national relics, national treasures like Triple T, Travis Thompson, and Marty Winkle are what we're all about. All right, I'm
Yeah.
just the host and help put this together, but we certainly have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, we
So,
do. I
All right,
love it.
brother.
All right.
Glad-
Good job.
Well, we will see you all again. Please book your tours here at our museum. We've been vibrant with spring breakers all week, and
Yeah.
book your tour here on Friday or Saturday. Triple T will take care of you, all right?
Yeah.
On behalf of our wonderful museum here and Marty Winkle and Travis, I'm Mark Marquette saying we'll see you again to bridge the space between us.
Come see me.